Imagine a world-famous chef, a man who has cooked for royalty, a man whose restaurant in Tokyo has a 2-year waiting list, a man who believes perfection only exists in silence and control. Now imagine that same man standing in a crowded, wet market in Manila, sweating, confused, overwhelmed. Only yesterday, he told millions of people online that Filipino food was messy, unrefined, and without soul. He said it had no discipline, no structure, no identity. He laughed when he said it, and the internet heard him. But in just 3 days, a single spoonful of soup would bring him to tears. What happened in Manila? How did a master of perfection get it so wrong? And what was the one flavor that finally broke his pride? This is not just a story about food, it is a story about humility. Chef Kenji Nakamura is famous in Tokyo for precision. His restaurant looks like a museum. White walls, soft lights, no noise. Each plate is placed exactly in the center. Each herb measured carefully. Each movement rehearsed. In his kitchen, no one laughs. No one speaks unless necessary. He believes cooking is art, and art must be controlled. During a live global interview, he was asked about Southeast Asian cuisine. At first, he smiled politely. Then he said something that changed everything. In Japan, we respect ingredients, we refine them, we elevate them. But in the Philippines, it is just brown meat, too much vinegar, and no technique. It is street food, not fine cuisine. The clip spread within hours. Millions watched it. Filipinos around the world felt insulted. Some were angry, some were hurt. But one woman did not argue online. She made a decision. Chef Maya Santos runs a small but respected restaurant in Manila. It was started by her grandmother more than 60 years ago. No Michelin stars, no luxury furniture, just real food, real stories, real history. When she saw the video, she did not shout, she recorded her own message. "Chef Kenji," she said calmly, "you have eaten with your eyes, but you have never eaten with your soul. Come to Manila, spend 3 days with us. If you still believe our food has no soul, I will close my restaurant forever. But if you are wrong, you must tell the truth." The world waited. Kenji's pride would not allow him to ignore the challenge. He accepted. When he arrived in Manila, he expected disorder. What shocked him first was not the noise, it was the warmth. People smiled at him, shook his hand, welcomed him with respect. At 5 in the morning, Maya took him to a wet market. It was loud, crowded, alive. Fish flipping in buckets, vendors shouting prices, ice melting under the heat. Kenji looked uncomfortable. "Here is chaos," he whispered. Maya smiled. "No," she said softly, "this is life." She picked up small green fruits. "Calamansi," she said. "In Japan, you use yuzu. In the Philippines, this wakes up the dish." She showed him coconut vinegar, sugarcane vinegar, palm vinegar. She explained how in a tropical country, food spoils quickly. Vinegar was not just flavor, it was protection. In Japan, you preserve with salt and fermentation. We preserve with acid because we had to survive the heat. That word stayed with him. Survive. Filipino food was not careless. It was strategic. It was built from climate, hardship, and creativity. On the second day, they cooked in her kitchen. It was simple and bright. Sunlight came through open windows. Family members moved in and out. Someone laughed in the corner. There was no fear in this kitchen, no silence from intimidation, only movement and warmth. Kenji noticed something missing: tension. Maya began with sinigang. She crushed fresh tamarind by hand. Steam rose from the pot. The colors were alive: green beans, radish, taro. "This soup is not meant to impress," she said. "It is meant to comfort." Kenji took a sip. His face tightened. It was sour, strong, sharp. But then something changed. The sourness softened. The broth became deep and warm. The vegetables balanced the sharpness. It was alive. He took another spoonful, then another. Without realizing it, he finished the bowl. He did not speak. Next came pork adobo, brown, shiny, simple. "This is what I called unrefined," he admitted quietly. Maya nodded. "Before refrigerators, our ancestors used vinegar and garlic to keep meat safe for days. This is not just a recipe, it is a survival method." She explained peppercorns, bay leaves, slow simmering under low fire. He tasted the sauce carefully. It was not just vinegar, it had depth, it carried memory, it was balanced in a way he did not expect. He whispered, almost to himself, "This is not simple." Maya looked at him gently. Simple and easy are not the same. On the third day, she prepared the boldest dish, crispy pork served with bagong and fresh mango. When Kenji smelled the fermented shrimp paste, he stepped back. "This smells rotten," he said honestly. Maya did not argue. She sliced a golden Philippine mango, sweet and bright. She placed a small amount of bagong on top. "Trust the balance," she said. Kenji hesitated. Then he tasted it. The extreme salt of the sea met the extreme sweetness of the mango. Instead of fighting, the flavors supported each other. Salt sharpened the sweetness. Sweetness softened the salt. It was powerful. It was unexpected. It was perfect. His eyes widened. In that moment, he understood something deeper than flavor. Filipino cuisine was not messy. It was bold. It was fearless. It was a high-wire act of balance built from centuries of trade, migration, colonization, and survival. He slowly removed his expensive chef's hat, and he bowed. Not for cameras, not for drama, but from respect. "I searched for perfection in silence," he said quietly, "but you found perfection in community. I came here thinking I would teach, but I am the one who has learned." The next morning, he stood in Maya's bright, noisy kitchen and recorded a new video. "I was wrong," he said clearly. "Filipino cuisine is not unrefined. It is layered. It is history. It is resilience. I judged without understanding." The internet watched again, but this time they listened. Months later, Kenji added a new dish to his Tokyo restaurant. He called it the Soup of Truth. It was inspired by sinigang. He credited Manila openly. Food critics began writing differently, not simple, but complex, not messy, but layered. This story is not about winning, it is about understanding. Sometimes pride blocks taste, sometimes arrogance blocks learning, but when humility enters the kitchen, everything changes. Filipino cuisine was never trying to impress the world, it was trying to survive it, and sometimes survival creates deeper art than perfection ever could. If this story made you proud, share it, because somewhere in the world someone is underestimating something they have never truly tasted, and maybe they just need one spoonful.